Fine, thanks. How are you?
Good, yeah, very well, very well.
Hey?
Everybody ready?
One sec.
Yes, just wondering how important this weekend is to end on a high, as it were.
Yeah, I think that's always important. We've had a great season. Everybody's pleased with how the season's turned out, but I always think it's important to win your last home game. It's important that we put on a performance that reflects the season that we've had, and obviously our fans will go off in high spirits, and you only do that by winning games for them. So it's a game that we want to win against good opposition. We know that, who obviously will look at their game and think they need to get points on the board, because there's a danger they may slip a couple of places if other results go against them. So they'll be focused obviously on what they need to do. So that means it's really important that we do likewise, and I have no doubt we will do that. We want to put a good performance on as a thank you to our fans.
You couldn't have asked for more from your side, really, or you probably could have done, but I mean, to have finished with a higher sort of points record than last year and finished again in the top 10, that is some performance.
Yeah, I mean, we challenge ourselves every year, and we're always trying to push the bar higher. We've been able to do it once again. Year on year it gets more difficult to keep on achieving, but we've been able to do it in back-to-back seasons now. So the challenge will always be, can we match up better in next year? So we'll put that to one side just for the moment and get this game done, hopefully with a win, and then we can focus on what's ahead of us.
Have you put yourself in a better position to attract the kind of players you want to attract? In other words, is Stoke a more viable and appealing prospect?
Yeah, I've said that. I think that's true. Certainly, given the level of players that are presented to us, and maybe we have the option. Obviously, a lot of things have to fall into place before you actually get any players over the line. But the quality of players that we're talking about now is arguably higher than it has been at any other point in recent times. So that's encouraging, because I think that shows that we're viewed in a different light, and the perception of Stoke is different now, and we're viewed as a top 10 side, and a side that's consistently in the top 10, which we have been for the last 2 years. And with that comes an acknowledgement that maybe a good option for representatives of good players. So we're pleased enough with that. That's an important step for us. That shows progress as a club and as a team that's continuing to evolve and hopefully get better in coming years.
Summer signings, you always like to get them done, so you've got them to work with from July onwards. I mean, how soon might we see some doors revolving here?
Well, we've been able to obviously make for the Walside a permanent deal, which we're really happy with. I think he's a player of good potential. We'll get better with more time with us. He's coming midway in the season, done really well. In fairness to him, threw him in at the deep end, to be very honest, just because I needed to know what I had. I've been really pleased with what he's produced. He'll get better. As I say, he's a still young man, 25 years of age, so that potential is still there to be untapped, and that's a good start for us. There's obviously other targets that we're hopeful getting over the line, but you have to be patient sometimes. Ideally, as you just said, ideally you'd like them in the building for the first day of pre-season, but it doesn't always go that way or that smoothly. So we'll bide our time. If the right players are available, then we'll persevere and try and get them in as quickly as we can. But if we have to be a little bit patient to get the right ones in, then so be it.
Are you resigned to losing Asmir Begovic one way or another this summer?
No, not at all. No, I've said it from the outset. We'll have conversations with Asmir and his people, and then that's when we'll have a real indication of the likelihood of the results of those conversations. But at the moment, he's very much our player, which we're very pleased about. And he's playing a game on Sunday, so as we were, so to speak.
Bojan was a big signing for you, and he really came good. Unfortunately, injuries got in the way, and also for Muniesa. But I mean, Bojan is the kind of player you'd like to replicate this.
Yeah, it's not easy. I don't think it's, as a strategy, it can't be one that we hang our hat on in terms of getting a player of this quality in for very little money, and At some point we will have to play probably the market price, which we've been fortunate that we haven't been able to, or haven't had to do that up to this point, but still we've been able to get really good players in. We're delighted obviously that Bojan's progressing well. We're hopeful that he's going to be here this weekend. Just to say a thank you to the fans and all the support that he's had from them, so that would be good for them and good for Bojan. Be good to see him again, progressing well, very comfortable with where he is at the moment. And yeah, I mean, it's a case of what might have been maybe if we'd had him available all year, but I have to say, even when he went out to side with the players, took up the challenge of obviously filling the gap that he undoubtedly left. And the reason we've had the season we've had is because players have stepped up and filled in. It's only just had Bojan injury, long-term injuries. Peter and Wingy, Ryan Shawcross was out of the side through injury. Glenn Whelan had a broken leg. Victor Moses did really well for us, but unfortunately not the team as well. So we've had to put up with more injuries this year, and I've said many times that's why the season we've had has been more satisfying this year.
Do you accept that the more successful you get and the more you're seen in Europe as a powerful side, then the price inevitably goes up on the targets you may or may not have?
Yeah, that's true, I think, but it's a sign of progress. You have to understand that, and you work with it. You always have a limit to what you're able to go for and what plays realistically you invest time in trying to get over the line. We've been good in that regard in the past, and we know the boundaries of what we can and can't do, so we work within those. But we still are looking for good talent that will come in and we can improve the top end of the squad, to be perfectly honest. We've got a good squad, depth of the squad is good, but if we're going to improve, then I'd like to increase the quality of the first 11.
Liverpool this weekend, is there a danger of being another Stevie Gerrard show? If he plays, of course.
Possibly. I'm sure the crowd of Britannia will give Stephen a welcome. And if it is to be his last game, then I think that obviously his career should be acknowledged and will be certainly. But it's very much of ours. I feel it's a celebration of what we've done this year, and a thank you from the players to the fans. So that's really our focus. The focus maybe media-wise on other things that are involved in the game, but from our point of view, we're very clear on what we're focusing on.
Not so many years ago, and I can remember this, you were a young striker with options with big foreign clubs and the top sides in the land. So can you sort of sympathise with Raheem Sterling's desire to better himself?
Well, I don't want to comment on that. Really, it's not my play, but all I would say, I think that the timing of it seems a little bit strange. 2 years left on the contract by all accounts. I think I've said before, when a contract length is maybe 12 months, then power shifts to the player. 24 months left on a contract, I would suggest the power is with the club, and I think Liverpool have made a statement. They seem like they're going to be very strong in this regard, so that doesn't surprise me.
Is it a question of a young player and an agent who probably is doing too much pushing, or is it hard to see from outside?
I don't really know. I don't know the agent involved. I don't know really the reasons why it seems to be an issue for him. I hope it gets resolved, because he's an outstanding young player, and a player I've really enjoyed watching myself, so hopefully we can settle down and understand where his immediate future is going on.
Just a couple of final ones. Your best ever moment of the Premier League this season, what was the best moment for you?
Difficult to say. You should give me a bit more notice. I would have thought of something, but no, I think overall it's just a feeling of satisfaction at the end of the season, and a body of work that we can look back on with pride, and not just from the players or myself. It's right across the board, because everybody's had to step up to the mark. Recruitment departments, medical, sports science have all played a part, and without the support that I've had from those guys, we wouldn't have had the season that we've had this year. So, as I said, the challenge is to do it again next year, and that's what we're trying to do together.
just briefly, best Premier League manager this season, apart from yourself, of course.
Well, the best one is the one that finishes on top of the pile. I always think that George has had an outstanding season. Won the league by a canter, and should be applauded for it.
Thank you very much.
Mark, just a couple to make. Jack Butland's obviously been selected for the 21s. Is that his opportunity to really make his mark?
I think he's made his mark already, to be perfectly honest. I think he's come into top half Premier League team and equipping himself really well. Really pleased with what he produced in the games that I was able to give him. He's got a real focus on this summer, something that's been very much in his mind. He wants to be successful, he wants to be part of a winning England team if he can, so we wish him well with that. But in terms of making a mark, I think he's already done that.
In Roy's selection, obviously there was a few players from maybe the less unfashionable teams, but then Ryan didn't get selected again. Do you feel a bit aggrieved by that? You got players from Leicester.
I'm looked at in depth in terms of the makeup of the squad, and I'm not sure what centre backs Roy's gone with, but I just think maybe it seems a little bit difficult for Ryan to break through again for whatever reason, and it doesn't look like he's going to get an opportunity anytime soon. He's had an outstanding season once again. Probably a little bit unlucky when he was really on the top of his game, but he went out to injury, so maybe that coincided with one of the international dates and he missed out again. But the key for Ryan is that he's just got to keep on performing, and at some point in the future I'm sure he'll get another opportunity, because his performances certainly since I've been at the club have been outstanding.
And with the media focus kind of firmly on Steven Gerrard and Liverpool, do you think that'll make it not easier, but it'll take the pressure off of you guys a little bit on the weekend?
Well, maybe there's no pressure on us. We're looking to perform well. It's the pressure we put on ourselves in terms of making sure we play correctly and perform at the right level that we need to win a difficult fixture. We want to finish off on a high, and there's no reason why we can't. We've had a good season, and we want to celebrate that fact, and we want to do that with our supporters.
Any injury news?
No, we're okay. Steve just had a stiff back today in training, so probably needs a little bit of manipulation, so just to loosen him off. But from that, I think everybody's okay.
Mark, obviously mentioned that Butland's been selected for the under-21s, and obviously he's got a very busy summer with the tournament, and then of course coming back to Singapore. Will we see him involved in the squad this weekend, or could he be given a rest and perhaps Sorensen take the place on the bench?
No, the likelihood is that Jack will be on the bench. He's part of the first team group, obviously, and he's part of the squad. He's going to get rest. I think immediately after the game he's going to get away for a few days prior to meeting up with the squad next week, I think. So he'll have plenty of time to rest once his work here is done.
Mark, we were talking last week about whether you've ever played against Steven Gerrard, and you played against him in a Merseyside derby when you were at Everton. Can you remember that?
Merseyside derby, yeah. I was very fortunate during my career. I played in quite a few big derbies. Liverpool won, Manchester won, obviously. Arsenal and Real Madrid won. Burnley Blackburn, by the way. That's a great one. Yeah, but I was fortunate to play in that derby. It was one of my better games. It was at the fag end of my career, so don't recall too much of it.
You almost won it in the late stage. It was 0-0 in the end, but I think you almost won it.
Did I?
Yeah. I'm afraid
If I'd have won it, I would have remembered.
You would remember.
Because I didn't, that's why I didn't remember.
And the other thing I was going to ask is Ryan Shawcross actually play this week? You know, you were a bit unsure about him last week.
No, I think he's okay. Yeah, but he might not be.
Oh.
No, he's fine. He's fine. He's available. We train tomorrow. Hopefully, no fallouts from the session itself, so he should be.
Thanks, man.
Okay, thank you very much. Thanks, guys.